Thanks, Cathaoirleach. First, I want to acknowledge in the gallery the great campaigners of Yes Equality between the Marriage Equality Group and Glen, and I know the ICCL played a huge role in that as well. It's such a proud day for our Republic today to have this bill before this House at Cathaoirleach, and I think of the day that the marriage equality referendum was passed and the sense of us actually reclaiming our Republic. And I want to pay tribute to Eamon Gilmore for putting this on the political agenda, if you like, and for ensuring that it made its way into the programme for government, and for the government for proceeding with the Constitutional Convention, for the members of the Convention to then pass a resolution to ensure that they wanted a referendum on marriage equality, for the government to have proceeded with that referendum, and for the entire body politic to have gotten behind that referendum, and then, in a way, for the body politic to step aside and for the people of Ireland to make this their referendum. And the leadership shown by the Yes Equality people was quite remarkable. It was a positive campaign. It was something that was quite unique. I don't think if I spend the rest of my life involved in politics, I'm ever going to feel anything like I felt in Dublin Castle on the day of the announcement. The colour, the excitement, and the sense that, yes, maybe we had reclaimed a little bit of our Republic. For those who came back from abroad, that this country had failed. They had fled this country for economic reasons or other reasons over the last number of years, and came home on boats and in planes from far afield to cast their vote in this referendum in huge numbers, to ensure that this Republic, as we face into the commemorations next year about the 2016 and 1916, that we have a whole different view of what a Republic truly means. And I remember quoting that essential line from the proclamation time after time after time in meetings up and down the country, where people would open up their hearts to their neighbours and tell them about the lonely lives that they've held or have had, and the aspirations that they have for their partners and for their futures and for their families. Equal rights and equal opportunities for all our citizens. It's not something that you just leave in a proclamation. You have to underpin it in your laws and in your constitution. And I suppose, to be honest, at Cathaoirleach, we would be foolish if we think that the battle is now won, because there's so much still yet to be achieved for our LGBT brothers and sisters and the LGBT community. I reference Section 37 of the Employment Equality Act, which has passed the Seanad and hopefully will pass in the Dáil later this year, which will ensure that those members of the LGBT community and others who feel that they can't be themselves working in institutions funded by the state under religious patronage, that they will have the freedom to be who they want to be. I also think of the transgender legislation that we passed, the Gender Recognition Act this year, a monumental piece of legislation. But there's also pieces of legislation we need to work harder to ensure that we can pass in this Oireachtas. I think of hate crime legislation. I think of the lobbying that Glen have done over quite a number of years to ensure that people can socialise in the way they want to socialise, be themselves in an inclusive fashion, not feel under threat of attack or intimidation. And I think for that reason, Cathaoirleach, I just want to inform the House that I'm beginning preparations on an national LGBT strategy, which I think will be important. We think of other strategies that exist across the equality sphere for other people in society who need to have their voice heard, and to ensure that all agencies of the state are listening to what they have to say and advancing their role in society. And when you think of the battles we still have to fight for LGBT community in the sports sphere, in advertising, in education, in health, and various different aspects, we need to formulate and have consultations on an LGBT strategy that can look 5 years, 10 years, 15 years hence at Cathaoirleach, and to see what life will be like for our LGBT brothers and sisters in the future. So to assume that marriage equality has ended the discrimination against gay, lesbian, bisexual and transgender people will be a foolish thing to assume, because I think it's the start of a conversation as to how we truly build a republic of equals. And as has been said about other groups in our society who still look at that moment in Dublin Castle and wish that they had that moment. I know traveller groups who feel strongly about attaining traveller ethnicity for themselves. I think of migrants and refugees who are coming here who want to feel they are part of this republic to build it for a better future. I think of people living in areas of disadvantage. I think of those who suffer from issues of literacy levels, and we had a conference today, the Right to Read campaign conference, which is talking about young people and the reality in Ireland that 17% of our adult population suffer from basic functional illiteracy. And these are issues that we have to, I suppose, galvanise ourselves to reassure ourselves that we can actually, when we appeal to the decency and humanity of Irish people, that there's nothing that we cannot achieve. And I may have been very negative at the beginning of this year, and I was accused of being quite negative by saying that this referendum could be lost. But maybe it's a lesson for everybody in this House of Caherlick, that if you want to appeal to people's fears, then you may achieve something. But if you appeal to people's humanity and their aspirations for something better and the true sense of being Republican, well, then there's nothing that you can't achieve. So I congratulate those who are involved in this campaign, who made it the People's Campaign. I congratulate people across this House who stood together and who fought for this good fight. And I congratulate the Irish people for coming out in such huge numbers. I congratulate the young people of Ireland for showing the rest of us exactly what politics should be about. And I asked all of us to strengthen our resolve to ensure that we can achieve more and do more to truly proclaim a proper republic.